Hi, I'm Jay Leeming, and here is a short film about corporate storytelling. Humans understand the world through story. The biggest storytellers on the planet right now are corporations. What does that look like? It looks like the world we have, the world I have, the world we have, the world we see in the headlines. If you want to change that world, if we want to transform that world in any way, we need to wake up to the power of storytelling, to our own powers of vision and of eloquence, powers that are in us from birth, from the beginning. Corporate storytelling produces films, beautiful, inspiring films. I am not a person who lives in a hut in the forest. I grew up inundated by images from screens. I watch movies now. They're beautiful things. They are, but they have certain toxic side effects. It's a little bit like a corporate farm that has a monocrop of corn, but there's heavy pesticides, there's environmental damage, as opposed to a garden you might have in your backyard. Films, for one thing, have a huge carbon footprint. It's off the scale. If the global film industry were a nation, it would be 11th in the world in carbon emissions, greater than Britain, greater than Brazil. Streaming services alone have the same carbon emissions yearly as Spain. That's a lot. It's a big impact on the environment. Also, many of these movies are looked over, censored. Is that what I want to say? Well, they're guided by the US Department of Defense, NASA, places like that. The Avengers movies in particular. The production crew gets to use an aircraft carrier or a plane from the military, but in exchange, the military requires that the film have no blood, no sorrow, no violence in the deep, gory way that war actually happens in that way. So in that way, the movies are changed. They look cleaner. It's easier for us to sign up for military duty because it doesn't look so bad. So those are changes which are made to the movies. NASA as well looks over these movies. So what must we do? Well, we must awake to our own powers of inspiration, eloquence, and vision. You can do it. I can do it. We were born doing it, telling stories. Many people I know want to transform the world. They're concerned about climate change, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ rights. Well, at the end of the day, however, many of those people, myself included, we go home and it's corporate media. It's the Hunger Games. It's whatever, Game of Thrones. It's Harry Potter. It's something corporate. And that's why we have the world we do now. If we have our own power, if we take that power back to tell our stories, we can transform the world. Now, to many people, this means telling personal stories, which is lovely. That's great. We need personal stories. They are a way of opening the heart, of connecting with others. They create community. But we also, as humans, have a need, a desire for magic and wonder, for spectacle. Lord of the Rings, well, that's a thing which is not the same as a personal story. All of these things, the Avengers, again, etc., all these big spectacles. So what that means instead is the Odyssey, the African epic of Sundiata, the Mahabharata, 1001 Nights, Norse myths, yes, Thor, Odin, take them back, people, take them back. These stories are there for us to use. Humans have told them for thousands of years. It's an oceanic repertoire of stories. And if you think it's all one thing, well, I have to say it's many things. It's like waves on the sea. There are stories in which women become men and men become women, in which a slave will become a king and a horse will swallow the moon. And you wake up one morning and you're married to your brother who's a stone who lives at the bottom of a valley. So these stories are many-sided. They're designed to be wrestled with. Humans have wrestled with them for years. So it's our way of negotiating reality, understanding the world around us. We can do it. Ideally, what do we want to see? What would I say? Who am I to say? I say less Netflix and more stories told among us, more stories grown in the backyard, more stories ourselves which have the magic in them. Oral storytelling is not top down. In a movie, everything is decided. The pace, the film, music, the images, every detail of it is wonderfully designed and worked out. A story is co-created with its audience. The audience has a part and a piece of that story. When someone describes a monster in a labyrinth, everyone in the audience sees the monster they are able to see. In that way, politically, they are collaborative. They are not authoritative and top-down. So these stories can save the world. That's what I'm saying. So let us save the world. Let us have less screen time and more dream time. Let us tell stories. Thank you and take care.